Hi, hello, welcome to Spell Day. We're covering a spell every single day of the year from the 5e PHB plus 3. Those plus 2 spells are homebrew spells. We're at plus 2 at the moment. Get a back in the playlist to find them, and today's spell is True Polymorph. Ninth level transmutation, casting time of 1 action, range of 30 feet, components verbal somatic material, a drop of mercury, a dollop of gum arabic, and a wisp of smoke. Duration concentration up to 1 hour. Choose one creature or non-magical object that you can see within range. You transform the creature into a different creature, the creature into an object, or the object into a creature. The object must be neither worn nor carried by another creature. The transformation lasts for the duration or until the target drops to 0 hit points or dies. If you concentrate on this spell for the full duration, the transformation lasts until it is dispelled. This spell has no effect on a shape changer or a creature with 0 hit points. An unwilling creature can make a wisdom saving throw, and if it succeeds, it isn't affected by this spell. So, again, we have an option spell. Meaning, we'll go over each option. There's only 3, but they're quite in depth. Creature into creature. If you turn a creature into another kind of creature, the new form can be any kind you choose whose challenge rating is equal to or less than the target or its level, if the target doesn't have a challenge rating. The target's game statistics, including mental ability scores, are replaced by the statistics of the new form. It retains its alignment and personality. The target assumes the hit points of its new form, and when it reverts to its normal form, the creature returns to the number of hit points it had before it transformed. If it reverts as a result of dropping to 0 hit points, any excess damage carries over to its normal form. As long as the excess damage doesn't reduce the creature's normal form to 0 hit points, it isn't knocked unconscious. The creature is limited in the actions it can perform by the nature of its new form, and it can't speak, cast spells, or take any other action that requires hands or speech unless its new form is capable of such actions. The target's gear melts into the new form. The creature can't activate, use, wield, or otherwise benefit from any of its equipment. Simple one. By simple, I mean that this is polymorph. It's creature to creature, but where regular polymorph is just whatever your creature is to a beast of some kind, this is any creature of equal CR level. That opens quite a few doors, namely because plenty of people have brought up with the shape changer as well. Everything in that video also applies. You're just using on yourself with this one, with an extra stipulation. I mean, really, this section of the spell could just be combining the shape changer video and the polymorph video together. But, when it comes to true polymorph, if you hold concentration for 1 hour on that form, you're changed. How? Well, changed until dispelled. That's both really powerful and not powerful. Because now you come into question, or what I'm about to be asking, of like changing into a younger creature, or a creature that doesn't have to worry about age. Like, let's say a mage casts this, they turn themselves into a dragon of some kind, live for thousands of years, and eventually someone figures out they're hiding and dispel them. Do they just die of old age on the spot, or do they turn back into what they were before they changed? Because if we're going with the health ruling, they're at the same state they were when they initially changed. So this is another workaround. Because you could also, it's any creature. It's not limited to beast or some kind of animal or monster. You could just turn yourself into another humanoid, a younger one. Can you dictate age with any of these shape-changing spells? I don't know, that's a weird one, but really, I mean, yeah, it's the shape change and polymorph together. Outside of the additional stipulation that it stays that way after an hour, which makes it, if you're disabling someone, or if you're going with the Pokeball, you can store so many of those. Because here's the other thing as well. The whole, it needs to be dispelled, comes after it mentions the usual stipulations where the spell ends, as in, they reach 0 hit points, then that, ticks over to the regular creature, they die, ticks over to the corpse of the regular creature, or your concentration ends and the spell ends for some reason. They pop back. It's then after that it says if you hold it for an hour it needs to be dispelled, meaning even if they go to 0 hit points, they stay whatever they were. You can kill them. They don't revert back. If you can get your BBEG to fall under True Polymorph, you don't even need to do the power word kill whole shtick with max health now technically being lower. They're just a slug after an hour. Step on it. They're not going to turn back. Unless someone comes in and dispels them, they're that thing. Because yes, while a lot of these can be simply solved by a Dispel, which goes into the question of a lot of different spells that, oh, well, it lasts until Dispelled, but Dispel can be ubiquitous. Arguably, there's also arguments on how easy is it to detect it, do you know you're looking for magic? I mean, what if the frog that's kept within this Archmage's cage, you just assume is a frog? Not that it's some like local princess that's been there for 2 years. And especially because now there's not technically, I guess True Polymorph is still technically on them until Dispelled. Would they appear with transmutation? Would they appear magical or like there's an effect on them? I guess they would. But then you could just put Nistol's magic aura on it. Because yeah, if you're just someone randomly wandering around and then there's just a beast, a monster, a wolf or something, you're likely going to go hunt down and kill it. You're not just going to let it wander around. You don't know it was your previous king. I mean, yes, there's more efficient ways of killing someone, but this is very, like, fable, curse sort of angle. But if you can somehow get that main target to fail that one wisdom saving throw, it's a save or suck, and hold it for an hour, similar to banishment if you hold it for the full minute, the fight's over. You can just walk up and step on them if you turn them into a slug or a bug or something very easy. And then the player situation. You can have them turn into some kind of celestial, a dragon, anything that can go up to the CR you're at, as in the level you're at. And then just keep it there. You know they're in a false form, you can dispel them later. Yeah, honestly, you can hold an action until they're pretty low, or instead of healing them, you just dispel them and now they're back to their full adventurer hit points, instead of having to tick over to 0 first. And then you didn't have to hold concentration on that polymorph. Can you turn a Tarrasque into Tiamat? Tiamat into a Tarrasque. But the being able to keep it there without concentration or until dispelled, that is really good. If you have the proper prep time, because, okay, this only takes a 9th level spell slot. Now that seems like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, with some other spells that have a material component that normally stops you from just mass producing them, go wild. It's the same thing with Bestow Curse at 9th level. If you're just a high level character or a big villain that has access to 9th level spells every day with a normal long rest, curse people. Or make your grandest minions massive monsters. Or like reincarnate, change someone's species. You could also just turn a warhorse into a dog, or vice versa. I mean, that depends the CR, but you know what I mean. Because you can make your adventuring party just a death squad of Celestials. You're holding concentration on your own True Polymorph, you already cast them ahead of time hours ago. You run in, they're getting low, dispel them. Boom, they're back to their normal hit points, and they didn't tick over to 0. Well, they didn't die, because at that point it would be, well, unconscious. I guess that's kind of a downside, is you don't automatically tip over to 0, but now you're not holding concentration on 5 people who have changed forms. Or more. Because being able to avoid concentration on this, it's shape change on other people without concentration if you prep ahead of time, and have Dispel. That's really good. Especially because they preserve their alignment and their personality. So even if you change them into a Celestial, a Demon, a Devil of some kind that you fought earlier, they're still fine, they're still them. Yeah, it runs into the issue of the instat block, similar with other polymorph things, but likely creatures like that have a higher intelligence than a fly. So you avoid a lot of those troubles of, mental stats being dumped. Not to mention, as someone brought up, it's how you get a Tarrasque. Burn through its initial 3 saves, and then if they fail this, hold it for an hour. They're done. It's a save or suck. One of the big ones. Object into creature. You can turn an object into any kind of a creature as long as the creature's size is no larger than the object's size and the creature's challenge rating is 9 or lower. The creature is friendly to you and your companions. It acts on each of your turns. You decide what actions it takes and how it moves. The DM has its statistics and resolves its actions and movements. If the spell becomes permanent, you no longer control the creature. It might remain friendly to you depending on how you have treated it. CR 9 or lower. I mean, it goes with a lot of the usual stipulations of, honestly, if we're comparing it to other spells, it's kind of like Awakened now being thrown into the mix. Because upon the initial casting, there's a brief period where it does have to follow your commands, and then it can make its own judgment after, but it is permanently there. But it's any object, CR 9 or lower, which late levels, when you're casting 9th level spells, might seem bad, but if you treat them well, or if you're just looking for different things, I'm trying to think of other things, anything CR 9 or lower. Every day you can make a new creature. Fully grown. That's CR 9 or lower. Just make a bunch of dragon wormlings. Maybe no one dispels them, they grow old someday. Or is the form locked? These things are never explained. Unless they are and you prove me wrong in the comments. Though no, that's an honest question. I'm not just trying to chide you, that is an honest question. Is it explained whether aging occurs in a changed form over a long enough period of time? Because it's permanent change. Or are they frozen in the state that, similar to when they went in, or if similar to when they went in, they're frozen at whatever age both the form is and what they were. I don't know. But go through the monster manuals. Go through them. Pick something CR9. You can make one of these every day, at least for the first hour, guaranteed to follow your commands. After that, if you treat them well, you're just now making an army of these things, whatever they are. Also, do they know they were an object? Because I've always wondered this part is, sure, for the first hour, it's just something under your control. After that, it now is a living thing with its own autonomy. Did it know? Or does it know? Like it was a chair or something. Is there an adventurer out there who used to be a chair? These are the questions. But then, you know, that's probably not the best character origin, because one dispel is gonna ruin you. Now I'm just thinking like a secret bandit boss that if you just cast Dispel on them, they're gone. They're a bar of soap. Because that's the thing, you can also make them humanoid creatures. It's not just a random monster of CR 9 or lower. Outside of the weird, also where's the soul coming from? Do they have a soul? The afterlife in the base 5e system is never explained, at least to an adequate extent. Anywho, at the very least, fun NPC ideas. But, yeah, no. Make an army. Go crazy. Ooh, another thing. Random question. Forgot, especially because this is a creature, we didn't bring it up in shape change. But something that I had to talk with other people about. Can you polymorph someone into a ghost? Or a specter, or a wraith? Can spectral undead... Because ruling-wise, there's nothing that says you can't turn into that. Or that those types of things are immune to that. They're technically still a creature according to the monster manual. That'd be an interesting way of killing someone. You just turn them into a ghost. And again, similar amount of confusion of one dispel and they're back. And unlike the creature to creature, object to creature, again, they're their own independent entity afterwards, so it's kind of up to you on how easily you can corral other groups of people or get them to help you, other hirelings and such. You can just, the difference is you can manifest, you can bring them into reality. You make them. Man, now I'm beginning to see why wizards see themselves as gods. Or high enough level spellcasters for that matter. I mean, you're literally making life every day. Creature into object. If you turn a creature into an object, it transforms along with whatever it is wearing and carrying into that form. The creature's statistics become those of the object, and the creature has no memory of time spent in this form. After the spell ends, it returns to its normal form. Okay. So, I know we're on creature to object, but back to object to creature. Under creature to object, that specifically says the creature does not remember being in the form. Now that can either mean two things. That either means it's automatically assumed for object in the creature that there's just no memory before that, or it knows it was something, and it's not listed that it does forget. Up to DM, what do you think is more fun? A chair knowing it was a chair? That sounds like a fun character. Again, when it comes to the aging thing, if you are the same age that you went into the object when you come out of it, or it's dispelled, that's fantastic. That's another skip, cryogenic-ish storage, sequester sort of alternative, and no material component, which definitely beats out sequester with that, because this can be any object. Make it a statue or some small cube of a hyper-dense and very durable material, adamantine. Actually, now that I think about it, just hope it's not melted down. Okay, also on this, to make a point I forgot in objects to creatures. In creatures to objects, there is no size specification. I thought the object, when you did make them an object, it had to be something of an equal size or lower. Nope. No, you can just make a massive adamantine statue that is stories tall. The question is, does that count as an object anymore? And it doesn't have to be a statue that looks like them, that's just my usual go-to. They can be a palace. Well, okay. Sorry. Depends. The question of what counts as an object versus a structure comes up quite a bit, because technically, like, some objects are multiple components. So at what point does multiple components count as just a structure? Like, does a cart count as an object? Or does it count as a structure? A ship? Because if you can turn a guy named Theseus into a ship, there's a whole load of other questions to that. But no, turn him into an object, you can make it large, small, durable, into whatever utility. You can make someone a sword. Oh my goodness, a wizard who all their equipment are all previous adventurers who they managed to capture and get turned into objects. Oh no, oh no. But at least they don't have the memory, meaning this is pretty good. Oh. Flesh to Stone doesn't have a stipulation about forgetting. They're aware. See, it's things like this when we're reading through a spell and so many things from other spells and mechanics and gameplay rules just come into question and have horrific implications. It can be things just like, oh hey, scrying counts as having seen the target. Illusions can trick scrying. People are aware when they're petrified. Oh, that's horrible. That is horrible. But that's another spell. That's another video that we've done. When it comes to this, luckily, they don't know. They don't remember. So really it is probably a better cryogenic storage option than being turned into an object. Hundreds of years later, they know you can be woken up. Dispel, hello, we need some information, or you to help us, or you're the hero of this prophecy, come and help. Oh, now I'm thinking if you're protecting an object, you could sequester this object. If you just want to be really secure, really secure. And also with this one, you could have literal Pokeballs. You know, single object, you throw it out, cast Dispel. If you allow throwing as a bonus action, Dispel as an action. Similar to that wizard thing, you could just have a bunch of, or a villain, have a bunch of really dangerous monsters or creatures, just all different true polymorphed things, or hidden and booby-trapped throughout the battlefield, or their lair, they just have various bits of tiles in the floor that they know they can dispel and create a monster. Or because they can decide whatever the form is, it's both a pit trap and something they're summoning, in quotations, by dispelling their true polymorph. I mean, it's kind of a worse mimic in a way. That one stone you stepped on, or that one chest? No, that's not just a mimic, that's a Tarrasque. Objects, not CR limited. Oh, you could mix this with Glyph of Warding. You really could. A Glyph of Warding with Dispel magic. And some of these objects, oh no, oh no. One thing I now want to see is just so many objects that just show that, yeah, no, some kind of transmutation spells on this. We don't know what it is or what it was. Maybe identifying it shows that it's true polymorph. You still don't know what, you still might not know what it is. Because it just shows you the spell effects, not necessarily what it is. Unless, you know, you rule it otherwise, but I'd rule it you don't know. Yeah, sure, this chair was something. What it was a powerful enough spellcaster to turn it into a chair. It might be something bad. It might be some kid wanting to go home. But he's been in a chair for 4 decades. Wonderful, horrifying spell. A lot of prep, a lot of shenanigans, really good for a villain or DM. I mean, we've been kind of talking all over the place, both player world building wise. Not really grand societal changes, because it's a 9th level, so it's really difficult to get the hands of a lot of people. But in the sense of the PvEG, we talked about that boss fight scenario, the various traps you can set up, players, the prep time with just changing the entire party into something. It's a really powerful spell. It's shape change for multiple targets if you work around it with the Dispel and the prep. 10 out of 10! I don't even think that was really a question. This is a really good spell. It's really good. I'm pretty sure there's stuff I've even missed, or forgotten, or haven't thought about with this. Mention them in the comments below, especially of the forms that you can turn objects into. 9th level and below. It does also have to be of the same size or lower. But man, there's so many options packed into this, and it's another 9th level spell that can be virtually rolled in with slightly different ruling. It's good. It's good.